President-elect Joe Biden announced his economic relief plan, and that includes relief for small businesses, especially those owned by Black and minority businesses.
Our priority will be Black, Latino, Asian, and Native American-owned small businesses, women-owned businesses, and finally, having equal access to resources needed to reopen and rebuild. But we're going to make a concerted effort to help small businesses in low-income communities, in big cities, small towns, rural communities that have faced systemic barriers to relief.
And so we wanted to bring in Cathleen Trigg-Jones, who is an ambassador to the Black Entrepreneur Initiative with the Lonely Entrepreneur, a nonprofit here in New York. She's also the founder of iWomanTV and CatScape Productions. Kathleen, I know you worked for Senator Joe Biden back when he was in Congress. What stands out to you in this relief plan? What do Black and minority business owners need in terms of relief?
Well, Black and minority businesses need a lot in terms of relief, and just starting where you started, I did work for then Senator Joe Biden just when I was out of college, and I'm from Delaware, and I went to Delaware State University, and just happened to run into him after interviewing him a few times in one of my first news jobs. And he asked me to come work for him. He asked me to come join him in his press office. And it was what I would say a life-defining year of my life. It set me up for many of my future successes as a journalist and as a businesswoman, mostly because I know that he's gotten a lot of pressure from the Black community. A lot of people are asking, what is he going to do? What is he not going to do? We're holding him to the fire on this Black, economic relief thing that we need help. And we've elected you, Joe, and now we want to see what you're going to do. And all I can say is just sit back and watch. And I think we're seeing already just in his passion and his compassion for the Black community that there's a lot that we will gain as Black entrepreneurs, Black business people, just Blacks in general, because of his commitment, lifelong commitment to the Black community. So that makes me really happy. It makes me happy for the world to see what I saw as a young 20-something-year-old working for this man. I have really high hopes. But there's, Neil, the bottom line is Black businesses are really suffering. We've been suffering. It's nothing new. It's not like suddenly because of the pandemic we started suffering. No, we've been suffering. We are not, most of us do not have generational wealth. We don't have an empty check that's given to us when we graduate from college. It says, hey, here's $1 million and the all the support you need from generations and generations of family members to give you the start that you now need to be a successful business owner or a successful business person. We don't have that. So we're already working at a disadvantage. Now fast forward and we get hit with a pandemic, and it was nearly impossible for many of the businesses, Black and non-Black, not just Black, but even more so, for the Black businesses to really survive during this time.
And, with this battered labor market, millions of Americans out of work, it is disproportionately affecting Blacks, minorities. What are some of the unique challenges that they're facing right now?
Oh, there's so many. One of the biggest ones is we saw a first round of PPP get distributed to businesses, to help them survive. Well, who are those businesses that received that help? I would tell you that a large amount of them were not Black and brown people. And I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it's largely because of what I just said. As minorities, many of us are first to the table in our families to even go after loans or even have a relationship with a bank to be able to apply for these loans, and to have the history that would allow us to be qualified for these loans. So largely, a lot of businesses in the Black community have failed. I believe the numbers around 41% of Black businesses, minority businesses, failed to survive the pandemic. So now there's another round of PPP money that's going to come out, and because of Joe Biden's commitment to this community, they're going to divvy it up a little differently. If you didn't get it the first time around, which would be a lot of minority businesses, then you're supposed to be first in line this time around. And we'll see if that makes a difference. But the truth is, there's not a lot of help when you are, as we say, and what we're going to introduce in a little while, the lonely entrepreneur. It is really lonely when you're a business person and you don't have that generational wealth or even expertise to fall back on. Who do you go to for help? How do you know the things that you just don't know? You don't even know the questions to ask when you're starting out as a business person.
Yeah, and so I speak with a lot of business owners all week, and their challenges. Everybody has a different challenge depending on industry, but not only is the money and the funding of importance, it's also that guidance. It's some people see opportunity to start new businesses. At your program, the Black Entrepreneur Initiative, you're actually mentoring people and getting into entrepreneurship. Are they starting new businesses right now? Is it because of opportunity, like I'm hearing from a lot, or is it more of job security for them?
Well, a lot of people don't have a choice. Let's
Yeah.
face it. A lot of people have lost jobs, and so when you lose a job and the job market is as poor as it is right now, you have to get really creative to survive. And I think that one thing that being an African American businesswoman myself, you are a survivor by nature. We have had to survive so many things, so much disadvantage. We minority businesses are just at a historic disadvantage when it comes to access to capital, access to networks or partnership, collaboration or sourcing. And so you have no choice but to figure it out when you're hit with a pandemic, and it's crumble and fall, or get very creative and figure out what you're good at. What are you passionate at? What does your community need? And how can you supply that need with very little access to capital? So what we're finding is that a lot of people, including many of my friends, I work with a lot of female business owners. As you know, I'm launching a network called iWomanTV, and the idea really is to empower women to take control of their finances, start telling their own stories, and support one another. Because if you're a Black business owner, if you're a female business owner, if you're a minority in general, you're just at a disadvantage to getting that much needed support.
Give me an example of what exactly these business owners come to you at the Lonely Entrepreneur Black Entrepreneurship Initiative.
Yeah.
What are their specific needs, and what are some success stories right now?
Well, let's talk about the Black Entrepreneur Initiative. The Black Entrepreneur Initiative is a really exciting program that I feel really blessed to be a part of. Over this past year, the founder, Michael Dermer, came to me, and he's a white guy, and he has this platform that's been very successful. I believe helped close to 60,000 entrepreneurs, mostly non-people of color, over the past several years. And when the pandemic hit, and when he and actually slightly before that, he realized that there was a real divide between the haves and the have-nots in life, but also in business. And he said, how can we get more people of color to take advantage of this platform that I've built? And I think it was one of those things when you know you're successful, you're doing the right thing in life, and you're able to build a business because he failed at a business at one point. He was very successful at a business that he failed. And, he's kind of gone himself up and down this roller coaster. And what he realized was it was super lonely. It's really lonely out here for an entrepreneur. So he created this dynamic program, and it's called The Lonely Entrepreneur. And then again, fast forward, he decided, how do I reach minorities and give them this support? Because I'm helping so many entrepreneurs and I want everyone to take advantage of this. So he created the Black Entrepreneur Initiative. And the goal is to empower 100,000 Black entrepreneurs to help them reach the levels of success that they deserve. Bottom line. And how we get there is through corporate sponsors, corporate donations, influencer relationships. But his goal, his passion really is to bring this community to people who need it most in their own communities. So there's There's a bunch of learning modules. There's online support, everything you need from basically business 101 all the way through, the very end. If you decide that you've had a successful business and now you want to exit, he really is taking you through the steps and giving you all the tools that you need and teaching you for free. And that's something we don't hear very often. It's free to these entrepreneurs. So I just think it's an amazing program and an amazing opportunity to be able to be a part of something that's really changing lives.
It really looks like such a good program. If you look it up on the website, and you can see that it's really hands-on training. And I think for any business owner starting out, especially those at a disadvantage, to really use that hands-on mentorship from ambassadors like yourself. I'm wondering, by supporting these minority business owners, how does that help not only the local economy, but the macro economy?
Oh, I mean, it's a huge help, right? So the minority community is a microcosm of what is going on globally, really, and certainly nationally. So when you're able to empower entrepreneurs within their own community to be successful, you're creating jobs, and you're also creating education, and you're creating examples, and you're helping minorities create this generational wealth that we've been speaking about. It's hard for some people to really understand the systemic racism and systematic racism that plays into really holding entrepreneurs down. There's a lot of people who will say, well, why is all this extra help there for Black entrepreneurs? I need help. Well, you can get the help as well. You're not locked out of getting help from the Entrepreneur Initiative. It's just that we are targeting those who have been at such a disadvantage for so long and really need to help, and sometimes are afraid to ask. It's one thing to be able to afford to go to college or take classes or sign up for a program that costs thousands of dollars. But how many entrepreneurs, let's face it, have extra cash laying around when you're starting a business? You have no money, and often, you're starting with nothing except for maybe your God-given talent. So you can't really afford that. So in this case, we've taken already over 5,000 Black and minority entrepreneurs. Numbers probably much higher than that. I'll have to get the latest numbers for you.
Impressive.
Yeah, but already, and again, the goal is to help 100,000 Black entrepreneurs over this next year. So I'm a business owner, and I've been in business, as you know. I started out in news and worked in news for many years. But I wanted to start my own company, and I knew nothing about how to start a production company. I felt like, well, I'm on TV. It should be easy enough to start a production company, right? Hold some cameras and
We know what we're doing.
exactly, we know what we do. And I knew nothing.
Payroll.
I didn't know how to do payroll. I
Right.
knew nothing about taxes. I didn't know anything. And so now here we are, many years later. I've been in business almost 20 years, over 20 years. Don't tell anyone. But now here we are, all these years later. And there's this amazing program, and it's free. And I often tell the people that I work with, and that I'm pitching this to and saying, hey, sign up. They're like, it's free. It's free. It's actually free, right?
No catch.
I tell people when they sign up, like, take advantage of it. How many people care enough to say, hey, Black business owner, not only do I want to buy Black, but I also want to pour into you and help you so that you can be successful, not just this year, not just next year, but for the rest of your life as a business person. And you can hand this back to your children. That's the only way that our country will ever get to a place where there's a real even playing field and where we are really making a difference in the community.
As businesses help others too, they employ people, they create opportunity for others, not only making money for themselves, but that, as you said earlier, really does help the economy. Monday is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we always hear the "I Have a Dream" speech. It strikes me that the dreams that Dr. King talked about, the equitable dreams across the board, have not totally been realized, and we're seeing that in society today. I know the Milwaukee Bucks got involved to take this program nationally and help others. Explain to me what they're doing to help Black entrepreneurs right now. And I know that the Bucks were the first team that protested.
It takes That's exactly what it takes to help people lift someone else up, right? Where did we lose that in our society? Lift someone else up. And that's exactly what this partnership with the Milwaukee Bucks is doing. But let's go all the way back to April 4th, 1968, when Martin Luther King was assassinated. You know, his most famous speech, of course, is "I have a dream." And here we are many years later, and that dream is partially realized, but it's not fully realized. And why is that? Well, we're now at least able to see, you know, it play out in my industry and your industry on the news, that there's a really good reason that his dream is not fully realized. And that's because of the systemic racism that still exists and the overt racism that still exists in our country. You know, sadly, and I don't want to turn this into a race war, but the bottom line is there are some white people who really have not wanted to see blacks succeed. Bottom line, you know, I put it out there, and that's unfortunately what we're now seeing on the news. There are white people that feel like we've somehow taken something from them. If I'm successful as a black business person, that means it's, you know, I've taken something from a white person who could have, you know, been successful as a business owner. And I just want to throw that theory out. We're not in competition. And what I think you're seeing in the black community is that not only are we not in competition, we want you to be successful too. And we will make it our dying effort to help you. We just want the same in return. We're not saying that that we want something that you know our white counterparts don't have. We're saying there's room for all of us at the top. Let's all help each other. Let's all support one another. If I have a business that can support your business and your business can support another business, and everyone's families are thriving, your children are eating, we're all getting the same quality of education, we all have the same access to loans and PPP and all these other opportunities, then wouldn't the world just be a happier place?
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think we all want to root for each other. All of our countrymen and women want to, you know, root for each other. And I know the business community is really involved in supporting one another. I mean, I talk to these business owners all day who say, look, you know, we have to support each other, because right now we have so many issues in the economy and the government hasn't supported them with enough relief to this point, that they're helping each other out. And I wonder, it must be a very close-knit community within the blacks and minorities, right?
Well, we're getting there. You know,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's not problems in our community as well. You know, there's some dirty laundry as well, you know, within our own community, and we're working on that, and we're aware of it. And part of that also stems back to, you know, some of the things that we've had to endure, you know, over the years to just to prove ourselves, just to get ahead. Right? It hasn't been an open door, like the doors are open, everyone, you know, come and get your loans. No, we've often had to claw our way to the top.
Sure.
And it's the one opportunity that exists. You know, in my industry, I when I was starting out doing what you're doing now, I was usually the one black face on the news. Maybe there would be two of us, but there certainly wasn't two black news anchors like you now see now on news. There usually were not two females anchoring the news together, and so we've had to kind of all work and unfortunately fight for our rights, because they weren't just given. But let's go back to the Milwaukee Bucks, because I'm really excited about this partnership, and I'm hoping that every NBA team will say, and WNBA team will step up and do the same thing. But they've stepped up in a big way. They are helping us to reach our goal of empowering 100,000 Black entrepreneurs as a way to address this economic, you know, justice or injustice in the Black community. And, you know, as you mentioned, that Milwaukee was the epicenter really of social justice and change. And now they're at the epicenter of the solution. So that's the best we can hope for. It's okay that, you know, that we haven't always played so well together in a sandbox, and not everybody. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, that everyone has had a problem. There are people who have certainly, you know, done very well business-wise, but the fact that we've maybe struggled to get along doesn't mean we can't change that now. It doesn't mean that I can't support you and you can't support me. And I think seeing, you know, this initiative being embraced by the Milwaukee Bucks is just proof of that. You know, this is something that benefits your community directly. When you help another entrepreneur, regardless of their color, you're making a difference in your own community, and hopefully you're sleeping a little better at night.
Right. Kathleen, I really appreciate your perspective on this. Good luck, continued success with the Black Entrepreneur Initiative, and thank you for taking a few minutes to chat.
And if I could, I just want to make sure people know where to go. So if you want to take advantage of this, you can visit thelonelyentrepreneur.com /BEI, which is Black Entrepreneur Initiative. That will take you to it. Like I said, it's absolutely free. Our goal is to get to 100,000 entrepreneurs that are taking advantage of these online courses, of this business support that you'll get for a whole year. And just so you know, Neil, if you did not take advantage, you do not take advantage of this, it's about $1,000, a little over $1,000 a year that it would cost as an entrepreneur to take advantage of the Lonely Entrepreneur platform. So take advantage of it while it's free.
Yep, and the link is below in the article, so you can check that out on WCBS880.com, and the link is there. Kathleen, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.